The Golden Book of the Mysterious. This is the first of 5 books that I've picked out for us to look at today. This one just happened to be the first one that caught my eye off of my shelf. There's a $5.95 sticker there, so that gives us a little bit of an idea of when this book was published, but let's go ahead and check. 1976. So, yeah, 1976. Golden Book of the Mysterious. Let's see, what have we got? The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. Albert Einstein. Apparently he said that at some thing that he did there back in the olden days. What is a mystery? A mystery, according to a dictionary, might be what this mysterious hair is. Let me just get that out there. According to a dictionary, may be any fact, matter, or phenomenon of which the meaning, cause, or explanation is unknown and which arouses curiosity or inspires awe. Lots of words. Let's look at the pictures. Unicorn. A marvelous unicorn. Look at that guy. He knows he's fancy. I mean, he knows it. Across the pages of ancient writers, as much as 2,000 years ago, bounded the swift, elusive figure of the unicorn. With the body and head of a sleek white horse, the swift hind legs of an antelope, the tail of a lion, and the beard of a goat, the unicorn's principal claim to fame was the long, sharp, twisted horn that rose from its forehead and tapered to a point at a length of 24 to 36 inches. That's oddly specific. And yet the illustration checks out. The marvelous unicorn. Let's just flip along and see what else we can find. The Loch Ness Monster. That's terrifying. Imagine you're swimming along and you're just a teeny tiny little fish, and that guy just sneaks up behind you, and you're his dinner there. The dinner of Nessie. Not all monsters live in the oceans. The most famous of all is located in a Scottish lake or a loch. That's where that comes from. One of many that were cut off from the sea by rising land within the past several thousand years. Loch Ness, the home of Nessie, as the monster is called, is a deep, rough-bottomed lake with a wildly beautiful shoreline. It is by no means a wilderness area, though, for its northern end approaches the city of Inverness. Interesting stuff. Mysterious powers of mind and spirit. There's a lot going on in that picture. I'm not even going to try to unpack that. Let's just continue on. That's terrifying. Is this a seance? We're going to have to go back one page to look at this. Seances and mediums. Yep. I bet they talk about spirit boxes in here. Probably some Ouija boards. All things that, them spirits do be liking. That's for sure. These guys are seeing what this lady's conjuring up here. Yep. I would have to change my pants after seeing something like that. Alright, let's take a look at one more. Those are birds. I know about birds. They're not so mysterious. Ooh, hello, friend. I do love the illustrations in this book. That was what drew my eye to it initially. There are many types of books like this. The mysterious genre. This one, definitely one of them. Definitely a thing. Here's a man surrounded by a bunch of crutches. And I think that is just mysterious enough to move on from this book. Next we have a pop-up book, The Infinite Beyond. Yes, it's a space pop-up book, and look at this. They took the time to carve out the side of the book like that, which, always a nice touch. Here you see Mr. Spaceman reaching. What is he reaching for? Hard to say. Maybe the star, as we can see in his visor reflection. Lovely illustrations. Alright, so what's it about? Launching a spacecraft takes a massive thrust of power to break loose from the pull of Earth's gravity. In fact, most of the spacecraft is used to carry fuel. As soon as each section is empty, it is cast off. Saturn V, the spacecraft used for the United States manned moon missions, had 3 disposable stages. Only the relatively tiny nose cone or command module returned to Earth with its passengers. So here we see the ship breaking apart, and that's where them people were back in the days of the space exploration program, which apparently, interestingly enough, is kicking back off again. According to some internet news articles, so take them with a grain of salt that I read, back in July, there was a new program announced by NASA that's going to be attempting to put people on the moon permanently in a sort of space base. Look it up. It's got a cool name that I'm not even going to try to remember because I'll butcher it. But this book definitely conjures up those images in my mind of Earth and then the moon, where we did put the flag there, and the command modules out floating around in space. Is that how that happened? I guess so. And then it just sort of orbited the moon, I suppose, and the lander launched off the moon when it was ready to go back to the module, and then the module came back to Earth. That's probably how it went. Come to think of it, I've really never thought of it. But it's nice to have this cool, slightly pop-up book. There's not really any fun flaps or anything really too involved here. We do have the man that looks sort of like David Bowie, which is interesting. She looks like a lot of people. I'm sure you have an aunt or something that probably reminds you of her. And this guy, well, he's just happy to be here, isn't he? It's a lovely little book. I believe, we'll check the date, but I'm pretty sure it's from the 80s. Now, back to the moon base thing. This is what it could look like. Now, mind you, this was sort of a near future idea of when this was published, so they probably thought we'd have this technology by the point that I'm reading this, which is just about 2020. Still, nothing's impossible. This is very well... This could be what we end up with if this moon mission program really takes off. Which I, for the record, hope it does, because I think that getting our species on other planets or celestial beings is the only way to really ensure our destruction by our own hand. Anyway, existentialism aside, this was from 1989, so yeah, the infinite beyond, or, theoretically infinite. I'm not a scientist. Beep beep. It is Roadrunner and the Birdwatchers, which, interestingly, is Wile E. Coyote, as I'm sure we're all familiar with him, and Sylvester the cat in this crossover that I've never seen before. This is one of my many little books, published, I believe, 1968. Yep, 1968. It's just a small kid's book that we're not going to take all the time to read, but we are going to look at the pretty pictures. But what's the premise here? "Just watch me go in my gaudy green Go-Go," yelled Wile E. Coyote, and he raced past the cheering crowd in his new car. Look at that new car. Top down and everything. He does not look like he's wearing a seatbelt. I'm a little confused about the perspective there, but at least all the people seem to be enjoying it. I guess they let coyotes enter races? Oh man, this guy's really feeling it. "Sports fans, it's a great day here on Route 65 and a half. That's silly, because I don't think that exists. Suddenly, Wiley heard a shrill beep, 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 beep. I think that's how that goes, right? From the cartoons, beep, beep. I don't know. He looked in his mirror. Oh no, he howled. It's the Roadrunner. Well, that's not a very pleasant way to greet your friend here. He is looking really sinister there. Just look at that face. In contrast to all these lovely faces. So the Roadrunner is faster than his new car. That's not surprising. Roadrunner seems to be pretty fast. Oh no, it seems that his car has broken down, or maybe he has broken down, being slowly chipped away over the years by the Roadrunner. His soul is just, dead every time he sees him. He thought he'd have a nice day out riding. But nope, Wile E. Coyote, he just can't win, can he? Apparently Bugs Bunny is the mechanic. Is that what this is? I have to look. I don't really know what Sylvester's doing here. That looks like some sort of weapon. Is that a camera? We hope to shoot one of your rare try saying that. Rare western birds. And he held up a camera with a lens as long as a shotgun. That is confusing, but hey, maybe that's how they used to be back in the 60s. I don't really know old camera tech. Anyway, yada yada yada. What happens in the end? So they're bird watching. Apparently they haven't gotten the bird yet. And Wile E. Coyote's just along for the ride. I guess his car is being fixed up. A brief moment of happiness. There's the Roadrunner. And what happens? Oh, well, he's going over a corner there. That does not look very safe. His car's in a ditch, and he just looks like he expected this to happen. Meanwhile, everybody's taking pictures of Roadrunner, not really even caring about Wile E. Coyote here. And how's it end? Seems like Wiley was so pleased to hear that he drove them all back east to the convention. You know what? There's a lot of ways we could go back and figure out what exactly the context is here, but hey, look at the pretty pictures, right? That's what it's all about. We're not actually reading anything here, am I right? Dogs on duty. Look at that. Now that's a human girl, seems to be, but that's actually a dog. So focus on the doggy here, because I think that's the subject of this book. This is one of those National Geographic kids books that I love so much. Look at that good boy. I have so many. Again, every time I bring them up, I never fail to say that these all deserve their own video, but in due time. 1988. Those guys. I got this one because it's puppies, and it's old school puppies who are probably not alive anymore. I don't know. That'd be a pretty old dog. But at least they are immortalized in these beautiful pictures. And, yeah, it's a nice book. Teaching children about how dogs help us to do the things that we need done in the way that only dogs can help. Like here, you see this dog's being very helpful watching this lamb being given to him for the slaughter, probably. There's a lot of sheep here. Let's skip ahead. It's a seeing eye dog. Dog's giving a hand. Now, they don't have hands, so I can only assume that National Geographic's using the expression of giving them a hand, but we'll just press on. We'll not worry about that. Look at these guys. Sorry if you're not a dog person. I hope that you won't mind indulging me for this small part of the video, but I want one more instance of dogs helping people. Ooh. There are dogs helping sniff out people in some kind of wreckage, apparently from a 1986 earthquake in El Salvador. Yeah, rescue dogs. A very underrated class of dogs, I think. And then the traditional St. Bernards with the milk jugs on their necks, which is a phenomenon that I've never really understood. I think they're milk jugs. Okay, well, let's see. The dogs didn't really carry brandy in casks around their necks. That legend began when an English portrait artist gave a dog a keg and a painting. Okay, well, never mind. There's no answers here. Let's just press on. All right, what's the last dog we're gonna see? What will the fates pick for us? A good boy pulling something that's off camera, but he looks like he's really giving it his all. So yes, dogs on duty. Do you have a dog? I hope that it's doing its duty, but not on your carpet. And the last book today is the Grosset Treasury of Fairy Tales, with this cool lenticular photograph that hopefully will be showing up. That seems to work. Apologies if that's not the most clear thing you've ever seen in your life, but it seems to be a giant, probably from Jack and the Beanstalk, and then Jack and the Beanstalk. So it's connected, so I like that a lot. Interestingly enough, there are a lot of older books that have this lenticular sort of cover, and I've got a couple, and I plan to do an entire video on them once I've accumulated enough of them to really justify it, but I figure a nice sneak peek would never hurt. Let's take a look at the back. The fairy tales in this book. Jack and the Beanstalk, Cinderella, yada yada yada. Any weird ones? Hansel and Gretel. That's one that doesn't get told very often nowadays. And let's check the date before we press on, just to get a contextual understanding of when this came out. So this is a compilation, of course, so we've got illustrations from the 60s and mid-70s. I'm not sure exactly when this one came out. I'd imagine probably, well, let's just go with 1977, because it's the most recent date. Jack and the Beanstalk. Let's, you know what, let's skip ahead and go to Hansel and Gretel. What page is that on? Let's see, 72. Wow, this is a thick book. 72. There are page numbers in the bottom. Okay. Let's just give this a look real quick, shall we? So, we've got the parents in a humble cottage in a forest. There is Hansel and Gretel, presumably. Let's see. I wanna see the witch. So they're gonna go out and follow their parents into the woods. Look at these illustrations, these puppets. These are all photographs of actual 3D models that were made for these books, which is a form of art that I think has lost a lot of relevancy, which is a shame because look at the pictures. They're just really almost uncanny and uncomfortable in some instances, but I think they produce a really nice effect, especially for books like this. So an angel comes. I'll be honest, I don't really know the story of Hansel and Gretel. I just know what I'm looking forward to. Here we are. So they find the house made of sweets with a nice old lady who invites them inside. And I think if you know the story of Hansel and Gretel, you know what's going to happen here. So she's locked them in a cage and is making them feed her their finger bones. Or toe bones. I don't know. Where'd he get that bone from? That's a little concerning. Let's see. I think she's going to be cooking them up soon. Yep. And there is little Gretel, I guess. I don't actually know which one's Hansel and which one's Gretel. Those names are not in my vernacular and not specifically gendered in my mind. I'm going to assume that the girl's name is Gretel. Here she is, trying to not get put into the fire. Probably trying to steal the keys off of the witch's sack there. Oh, I guess that's it. Oh no, don't they... Okay, let's just read for a second. They give her a push. A tremendous push. Into the fire she tumbled. Gretel quickly shut the heavy door and ran to free her brother. So they burn the witch alive. That's what she gets for trying to eat them. And I guess they follow the breadcrumb trail back, that's part of it, and find their parents again, who I guess they got lost from. Not really great parenting, and there's Snow White. Which we're not going to read right now, because that would make this video just a little bit longer, and nobody's asking for that, unless you actually do want to see this. In that case, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Well, thank you for watching, friends. That's the end of this new little series thing that I'm going to try out, of 5 random books, just, truly random. I just sort of reached onto the shelves and grabbed them off. If you like this kind of thing, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you want to see anything specific or see any of these books expounded upon, go ahead and let me know that as well. Since this is the last video for the year, and it's been about a month since I uploaded one, I just wanted to say thank you all for sticking with me and your patience, and I do hope that 2020 brings a lot more of this stuff, a lot more of the things you want to see, and just generally good things for all of us. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the new year when we will read something together. Ta-ta, friends.